Today we went out to the market really early and had a chai in the community garden and got back by 8 a.m. The days are definitely getting colder and it was cloudy and grey, so I decided to get some inside jobs done. I've spent a lot of time outside the last couple days bringing some light back into the garden and adding new soil, plants and hay to make some new garden beds. I planted everything I had grown in pots and bathtubs, including papaya, avocado and turmeric, which grew by themselves as I always chuck seeds and things out to see what will grow. I also planted herbs and The house was a mess, the vacuum was broken and the fridge needed cleaning out. I also cleaned out our cupboard as my mum and dad are coming to stay next week. I've also started making them this cute little gift basket with all things they like for when they arrive, including some of our new project, homemade soaps. I've also been working on some artworks as well, so lots of exciting projects at the moment. I cleaned the door of the fridge, which was very satisfying, but seeing as we'd already put everything away and the fridge was full, I decided to do the rest next week. Then I started cleaning up the kitchen benches, sink, and doing the washing up from yesterday. Babe?
Yeah.
You got 4 mayonnaises in the fridge and 4 yogurts. Do you need all of this?
No.
Okay. Can you do one last thing for me?
Yes. Anything.
Can you just see, will this nail go down any further? You look good, babe.
There's the pliers.
The what?
The pliers.
What? No, can't you just drill it all the way in?
No, it's stripped.
Oh, yeah. These eco brushes are great for washing, but the new one broke easily with only a tiny bit of glue holding the handle on. So I drilled a nail into it and silicone to seal it. So hopefully it lasts this time, and they save a lot of plastic waste.
Organic pollutants. Some are deliberately applied to bodies of water to destroy plants, insect larvae, or undesired fishes. Some come from forest spraying that may blanket 2 or 3 million acres of a single state, with spray directed against a single insect pest. Spray that falls directly into streams, or that drips down through the leafy canopy to the forest floor, there to become part of the slow movement of seeping moisture beginning its long journey to the sea. Probably the bulk of such contaminants are the waterborne residues of the millions of pounds of agricultural chemicals that have been applied to farmlands for insect or rodent control and have been leached out of the ground by rains to become part of the universal seaward movement of water. Here and there, we have dramatic evidence of the presence of these chemicals in our streams and even in public water supplies. For example, a sample of drinking water from an orchard area in Pennsylvania, when tested on fish in a laboratory, contained enough insecticide to kill all of the test fish, in only 4 hours. Water from the stream draining sprayed cotton fields remained lethal to fishes even after it had passed through a purifying plant. And in 15 streams tributary to the Tennessee River in Alabama.
After the kitchen was finally back in order, I chopped some beetroot to make some juice. Make sure you peel, which I forgot, and dilute with water as they contain oxalates and other molecules like betaine, which can be too strong for our system, and oxalic acid can burn your throat. But they also contain heaps of antioxidants when raw that nourish our bodies, and beet is really good for nourishing your blood cells as well. I stored the rest in the fridge to drink over the next few days.
Yet for a week after the application of the insecticide, the water remained poisonous. A fact attested by the daily deaths of goldfish suspended in cages downstream. For the most part, this pollution is unseen and invisible, making its presence known when hundreds or thousands of fish die, but more often never detected at all. The chemist who guards water purity has no routine tests for these organic pollutants and no way to remove them. But whether detected or not, the pesticides are there. And as might be expected with any materials applied to land surfaces on so vast a scale, they have now found their way into many, and perhaps all, of the major river systems of the country. If anyone doubts that our waters have become almost universally contaminated with insecticides, he should study a small report issued by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service in 1960.
If you live in an area where lots of things are growing, or you can go to a community garden, taking cuttings and growing them or picking and drying the leaves is a great way to add fresh, nutrient-dense herbs and medicinal compounds to your
recipes. The service had carried out studies to discover whether fish, like warm-blooded animals, store insecticides in their tissues. The first samples were taken from forest areas in the west, where there had been mass spraying of DDT for the control of the spruce budworm. As might have been expected, all of these fish contained DDT. The really significant findings were made when the investigators turned for comparison to a creek in a remote area about 30 miles from the nearest spraying for budworm control. This creek was upstream from the first and separated from it by a high waterfall. No local spraying was known to have occurred. Yet these fish too contained DDT. Had the chemical reached this remote creek by an underground stream? Or had it been airborne, drifting down as fallout?
Once the veg was roasted, I washed and chopped up potatoes and chucked them straight into the roasted collie with some stock I made last week and some salt and pepper, tarragon, nutmeg, and simmered until soft. For lunch, I added the roasted pepper, garlic, salt and pepper, and olive oil to the blender until smooth. I added some fresh lemon and more salt and pepper, and it was ready. For lunch, I spread it on this organic ciabatta olive roll from the market with mixed leaves, whole roasted peppers, and some smashed chickpeas mixed in with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and fresh lemon. This was so good, satisfying, fresh, warm, sweet from the peppers, and crunchy. I just wish I'd smeared that roasted garlic on the bread. That would have made it amazing. After the potatoes were soft and cooled slightly, I blended and mashed some, added some garlic, ginger, cumin, olive oil, salt and pepper, and it was ready. Creamy, comforting and filling, so good. I always like to add as much as I can once the food has been cooked, especially things like olive oil, which are cold pressed to preserve their nutrients. So trying to keep them raw increases the amount of nutrients that we're going to receive. I washed up everything again, and that was my morning done. I spent the rest of the day editing this video, and then I relaxed for the evening. Happy Sunday.